Imagine yourselves in one of our classrooms today. There are 8 periods a day with only 45 minutes allotted for each class. It is your 4th period class and the bell is ringing to signal the start of class. Take off about 10 minutes at the beginning of class for students to file in and for you to take attendance, and take 5 more minutes off at the end of class where students are thinking about their next class and are no longer engaged in your lesson. This leaves you only 30 minutes, and only a portion of that time are students actually engaged in your lesson. The days of the fast-paced traditional schedule are very rigorous for students and hard to handle. And on top of this, each student has to remember all of the information that was covered in the 6-hour day for each of their classes and be able to separate them. Having a block schedule could solve some of these problems. I think that the 4x4 semester block schedule is the best one to use for a school, and according to the 1999 Texas Education Agency article titled Block Scheduling in Texas Public High Schools, the 4x4 semester block schedule consists of a schedule of 4 classes a semester that last about 90 minutes each. Each set of classes will last a semester, and then the next semester a new set of classes will begin. Not only would our school district benefit from this schedule, but so will the students and teachers. I would like to tell you about the benefits of block scheduling for both the students and the teachers, as well as why block scheduling is preferable to the traditional schedule. First of all, block scheduling benefits students in many ways. There's more time for students in each class due to less distractions from class changes and attendance, and as well as more time to learn and retain information. The article Block Scheduling Education Up Close Teaching Today, that was published in August of 2006, discusses that there is more long-term learning and an emphasis on in-depth study that helps students to make deeper connections, which helps to support the learning and retaining of classroom information. On top of this, more instructional strategies can be used that benefit all of the students. Different types of teaching strategies benefit students in different ways, and so with 90 minutes per class, more students can be taught in the way that would benefit them the most. In addition to being beneficial to students, block scheduling is also beneficial to teachers, and this is also due to more class time. Teachers can give a higher quality of instruction whenever they have 90 minutes rather than 45 minutes, and they have more time to prep for these classes and then prep effectively for them. There's more time on task due to less disruptions and less administrative duties to worry about. In Jenny Anderson's article in the June 1st, 2011 edition of the New York Times called At Elite Schools, Longer Classes to Go Deeper, she discussed how nearly a year into the experiment, teachers interviewed said they enjoyed the flexibility of longer classes, which allow them to take students out of the classroom and collaborate more, both with the teachers and students. On top of this, strong relationships with students and teachers can be formed because each teacher has the ability to focus in on each student's needs and the classroom needs of all of their children. Block scheduling is not seen as being perfect though, and some people think that it's actually bad, but the benefits of block scheduling greatly outweigh the cost of it. In Terrence Tice's report in 1997 titled Block Scheduling, he mentioned that in their study, a high degree of success was reported after 2 or 3 years by 70 to 80% of all teachers, parents, and students. And there was a strong support from school and central administrators. So a high proportion of the people in the schools that have already implemented block scheduling highly agree to it. On the other side, the critics say that it's hard for transfer students to transfer their credits and for them to catch up with the block schedule students. And they also think that for students who've missed a day of school, it is harder for them to make up class. But they only have 4 classes a day instead of 8, so they only have 4 classes that they need to focus on to learn the information that they missed for that day. And according to the loss of time argument, transition periods in the traditional schedule account for this. So the traditional schedule, class changes take up a lot more time than it would in the block schedule because there are fewer of them in a block schedule. There's also a boredom and loss of retention concern, but this depends on the teacher. If a teacher utilizes effective planning and instructional strategies, then they can keep up the engagement of their students and add retention instead of losing it. Nancy Otsky, who wrote Block Scheduling in 2010, mentioned that it would also be beneficial to help teachers with planning effectively by setting up professional development classes to learn new teaching strategies. And I agree with this, that if we set something up like this, teachers would be more prepared and more willing to implement strategies that they may not have previously used. Students also need time to learn, and Stephen J. Nelson, Calhoun's head of school, who was interviewed by the New York Times, agreed to this, and he recognized that the longer classes on a daily basis are cognitively better for students than the current system. So even though there may seemingly be issues in implementing a block schedule into our schools, the benefits greatly outweigh the disadvantages. Therefore, we should implement block scheduling into the State College Area School District. There are benefits for both the students as well as the teachers that outweigh what the critics say about block scheduling. By providing more time for each class, allowing teachers to use more time-consuming instructional strategies and planning time more effectively allows for more retention and information, and it creates even stronger bonds between the teachers and students. So I'm asking all of you to consider implementing the block schedule into the high school to help the students, the teachers, and school district to become better as a whole.